Welcome everybody to Virtual Yoga. I'm Alexa Newman. I am a librarian here at the Algonquin Public Library. I am also a certified yoga instructor and also certified in mindfulness as a mindfulness trainer. So today's practice, I decided we are going to be doing what is called a wall sequence or flow. We are going to be using the wall as a prop, and that's something all of us have in our homes somewhere. And it's another nice way to adapt a yoga practice if you do not have all of the props on hand at home. It's also good for our back health because it helps take some of the strain off of our back or our legs, but we still get the benefit of the pose and the stretch. So we're going to start on the floor. We're going to have our opening meditation where we are on the floor with a heart opener before we transition over to the wall. So what I would like you to do, and if you have blocks or a bolster, that's great. I'm feeling the need to have a more extended stretch. So what I want you to do is you either can bring, set a bolster to the small of your back. We're going to bring our feet bottoms flat on the floor so our knees are up. And you can lay back just like this, reclining. Bring your hands with your palms facing up, out, not completely out to the sides, but not flat against your legs either, just a little bit out. So they kind of fall naturally away from our bodies. If you're wanting a little bit deeper stretch, which I told you I really felt like I've been craving, I'm going to use a couple of blocks. And they're going to be in a little bit of a split T because I'm going to want one block to hit in between my shoulder blades. And you might need to do a little bit of repositioning. And then the second block is going to catch on your head, on your occipital ridge. Like that. And if you want to even deeper, you can lower that a little bit more. And then once again, feet flat on the floor. Hands out to the sides. Let those shoulders just fall towards the ground. We're opening up the chest. Really stretching out, letting those shoulders fall back. Opening up literally our chest area, our lungs, spreading the ribs a little bit. Once you're here, I want you to begin to relax all of your muscles. Release, let go, and begin to focus your breath inward. Okay, once you all are getting situated there, I'm going to sit up so I can face the camera, and I'm going to read our meditation, our opening meditation. So, once again, relax, focus, start bringing your thoughts inward, focusing on that breathing, on your heartbeat, and relaxing. And I'm going to be talking today about gratitude and happiness and attitude. And ways we can allow gratitude to boost our happiness. Humans have a natural tendency to focus on negative things, or threats or worries, but we actually can rewire our brains to turn our mental focus towards the positive by feeling and expressing gratitude. Research shows that by actively practicing gratitude, you can undo the grip of negative emotions and create positive cycles. and positive cycles of thinking, which in turn helps you to get the most satisfaction and enjoyment from your current circumstances. So this is kind of where thought actually creates reality. Now, because it is nearly impossible to feel gratitude alongside negative emotions. But that's not to say we should ignore negative emotions. It's important to accept all human emotions as being part of our lives. We should observe them and acknowledge them. And by doing that, it helps us on the path to happiness. Practicing gratitude helps to establish strong neural pathways that help us to manage our emotions. We can't change what happens to us, but we can choose how we react. Gratitude helps you to learn to let go of those emotions that don't serve you and to hold on to those that do make you feel good. When you practice gratitude, transmitters are fired up on our neural pathways, and they create more activity in the bliss center of your brain, and that increases the production of dopamine and serotonin. So the more that you stimulate these feel-good neural pathways through practicing gratitude, the stronger, deeper, and more automatic they become, which produces feelings of contentment and raises your natural happiness set point. This has the added bonus of you being able to experience more joy and pleasure for those things that you might ordinarily take for granted. You become more mindful, more alert, and more alive. Okay. So I hope you are now relaxed, feeling that nice opening across the chest. We are going to transition into, we're going to do one standing pose, but we are actually going to be using the wall. So I would like to invite you to bring yourself around to a standing position. And our first pose is going to be malasana, or a squat. Squats are not very easy for me, but I find having the wall makes them much easier. You might want to bring a prop over. And the reason I find the wall is that it helps keep my posture straight. I have a tendency when I do a squat to actually kind of bend myself forward, and that's like a variation that we don't want. I want to try and actually keep my trunk as straight as possible when I'm in the squat. So, like I said, I have found having also something to rest on, because the more we relax our muscles, the deeper we will actually, our muscles will loosen up, and we'll sink deeper into the pose. So for a squat, we want to bring our hips open a little bit more. Our feet can even actually be a little bit further than hips width apart. And here's where the wall comes in handy. Instead of leaning forward, which you actually can see I'm doing, that's my natural tendency. I want to bring my back flat against the wall. I'm going to actually turn my feet kind of out on 45-degree angles. I'm going to bring my hands together and then allow myself to sink. And I put, you can see the bolster in the blocks there to kind of catch me. Because once I'm here, keeping my back straight, also bring your hands down under your hips, out like that. And allow myself to relax and sink. Loosen the muscles. We're not holding anything tight. Now, for those of you that squats are easy, and you can go easy peasy in a regular squat, that's fine. For me, I find this has been a wonderful tool for me to actually increase my range of motion and my flexibility, having the wall here, because I can actually focus on the leg muscles and that stretch and the opening up throughout the inner and outer thighs. Feeling the quad stretch as well, which is where I want to be feeling it instead of through my lower back and up through my shoulders. Just by having the wall to lean against just a little bit. I'm really not particularly like flat up against it. I'm just resting on it there. So here we go. Believe it or not, we've already been in this pose for a couple minutes. We're going to hold it just a little bit longer. Try and relax your breathing. Okay. And now we are going to come back up. Oops. There we go. So you're in a dangle. I'm going to move those, and you can bring your feet bottoms together. Step back a little bit. Allow yourself fingers to fall towards the floor, head towards the floor. Loose knees. Just for a moment, we're going to stand up. And then we're going to come back down to the floor. Okay? Next pose we are going to do is legs up the wall. This is a great resting pose. It actually is really great at helping us rejuvenate. It is an inverted pose. A lot of these floor poses are inversions. And they are good at helping us, like I said, just it's like taking a nap without having to take a nap. Okay, and the way that I like to do this particular pose to get my tushy as close to the wall as possible is I slide in sideways towards the wall, and then I lean over, kick my legs up, okay? And then if I need to scoot in a little bit further, the idea is when our tushy is close to the wall as possible. And then your legs straight up, a little bit of micro bend in those knees, don't want them locked. And then bring your arms out to your sides in a T. And once you're here, relax. Again, focus, bring your thoughts inward. You should be breathing from your diaphragm, down by your belly, in and out through your nose. Relax your muscles, release your shoulders, release the muscles in your back. Relax your legs, your tushy. Feel the small of the back melting towards the floor. Imagine that belly button being pulled down through to the basement. They've done studies to show that spending 20 minutes in a position with your legs up the wall like this is about the equivalent of a 2-hour nap. Say, excuse me while I am pulling my timer since I can't see the clock from right here. Yeah. Once you're up here, like I said, our thoughts should be coming inwards. Stop worrying about all the things that need to be done, all of your random thoughts. Instead, visualize your breath flowing through your body. Imagine one little atom of oxygen coming in through your nose, and just kind of doing a little dance as it rides through your circulatory system. Okay. Once again, maybe scoot yourself a little bit closer to the wall if you want. This is a pose where you may want to use a strap. You may not. It's your choice. But it is a wide-legged pose, also called dragonfly. And where I would suggest having the strap is that if you're scared that they're falling too far apart and it's starting to get painful, you could have that as an assurance. But I kind of like this because, once again, you don't have the repercussions of actually breaking anything and having a stress injury from pressure and weight. And this is a good way for allowing those joints to open. Naturally, gravity is pulling them. And as you relax, you'll really get a great stretch because the weight of your legs is pulling you down. And you will actually, the legs will be able to go out further than you thought. And if it starts to hurt, you can pull them back in a little bit. But generally, you can trust your body. If you relax and fight the tenseness, your body will open up, and then that stretch will feel yummy. Like I said, if it's too intense for you, you can grab a strap and limit, because we don't want yoga to be painful. That is not the goal at all. If you're feeling pain, back out of pose. Okay. And, oops. Next thing we're going to do, okay, you can bring those legs back up, pull them down towards you. That's great. We're going to roll to our sides. And our next pose is going to be a Sphinx or seal. And it's going to be a little bit different about this one, is that we're going to bend our knees. So our knees are, say our shins are flat against the wall. Our knees are up to the edge of the wall. Tops of your feet are also towards the wall. And then we're going to bring our hands up out in front of us in a traditional Sphinx with jazz hands towards us. And this is a back bend. So once you're here, make sure we have the elbows below our shoulders. And your gaze when you're in Sphinx is down. So bring your gaze down. I'm going to talk to the camera so you could hear me. When I talk towards the floor, it gets muffled. I want your nose pointing towards the floor, your gaze going towards the floor. The crown of your head is going to be pointing towards the wall in front of you. Once you're in this pose, relax. That means unclench those butt cheeks. Feel the belly pushing towards the floor. Pelvis coming towards the floor so the arch becomes a little bit deeper in your back. Breathe in and out through your nose. Okay, we're going to roll back over onto our backs now. Once again, if you have to reposition, bring yourself tushy up towards your side legs, everything, your leg, the whole entire side up against the wall. Lay down. And then turn. Like I said, I found that to be the most effective way to get close to the wall. Okay, this next pose, we're going to do a butterfly. Once again, you might want to have your strap handy, just in case. But bring those feet bottoms together, bend the knees, and allow everything to just kind of fold in. And I don't see what happened to my strap here. There it is. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. And if you want, you could actually bring that strap around and down and pull those feet closer to you if you want. Wrap your hands around it and actually push the knees out a little bit if you'd like. Give a little bit of pressure. You can have your hands out to your sides, or you can bring your hands up over your head. Don't forget to breathe. Relax those muscles. Nothing should be tight, nothing should be tensed. Relax everything. Okay, and it's time already to transition to our next pose. Let's strap away if you've had it, stretch those legs back out just for a moment, extend them. Pedal on, pretend you're pedaling a bike there. With your feet flexed, toes open wide just for a moment. Point your toes, flex. Okay. Now we're going to bend our knees. And we're going to cross our right ankle over our left knee. And this is a reclining swan or pigeon. So your foot should be flat against the wall with the bent knee. Once again, relax, release. Breathe in and out through your nose. Maybe find a spot on the ceiling to look at. Allow your gaze to come just slightly unfocused on that, towards that spot. Uncross the legs, extend, shake a little bit, wiggle back and forth, kind of like little windshield wipers. Okay, and now we're going to bend those knees again. This time the right foot's going to stay down, and we're going to cross the left leg, left foot over the right knee. Don't forget to breathe. Take your tongue off the roof of your mouth, unclench your jaw. And just sink into that stretch. Okay, uncross. Extend the legs again. Open those toes wide. Close them open. Pedal your bike a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to bring our legs back down to the floor. Our next pose is going to be a variation of puppy dog, or melting heart. We normally do that kneeling. We're going to actually use the wall in this case. And what we're going to be doing is kneeling, facing the wall. You're going to want to bring a bolster in because you're not going to want to have your knees completely against the wall for this. We want to have the spacer of the bolster. And what we're going to do, I'm going to show you sideways here first. Pretend the wall's in front of me. Arms are going to go out over, and then we're going to melt our chest towards the wall. So here I am back, put my arms up over me, and then allow my face and chest to come forward. Well, I sink back a little bit towards back that way. So my tushy's going a little bit back. If you're feeling too much pressure on your back, you come up higher. Find a sweet spot for you. Find a spot where you're not feeling strain in your shoulders or in your lower back. Make sure those knees are hips width apart. I want you to breathe in and out through your mouth. You could rest your forehead against the wall and let that carry your weight. Right there, that third eye, that should be where You're landing your forehead, so between the palms of your hands, have your fingers spread open wide, and your forehead. Those should be carrying the majority of your weight, and then your knees, and your body is actually becoming like an architectural buttress. Okay. Two more poses before Shavasana. We're going to come back down to the floor. Once again, going to bring that tushy in close. So lay sideways towards the floor, roll up, and then kind of inch your way in. Okay, this time we're going to do another malasana. It's another squat, but we're going to squat against the wall. So bring those feet bottoms till they're flat on the wall, but we're going to drop them down and out to the side. And you could even have your hands resting on the insides of your knees, right there. Your arms. Yeah, okay. Is not comfortable like that, reposition yourself until you do feel comfortable. You might want to prefer to have your arms out to the sides. Don't forget to breathe. Unclench your jaws. Okay. Last but not least, we are going to do a twist. So, when you bring those knees together, zip those legs together, feet, knees, thighs, and then we're going to drop the knees down towards our left. Pick up your left shoulder, arms are out to our sides, palms are up, and then let your head fall towards the right. Okay, bring your head gaze back up towards the ceiling. Pull the legs back up so they're extended. You might want to actually lift your tushy up a little bit, your back, your spine, to realign everything there. So we were in a twist. And now we are going to bend those knees again. Bring the feet flat. Zip feet, knees, thighs together. And then we're going to let them drop towards the right. Let's pick up that right shoulder. And then look over your left. Remember to keep breathing. We should never stop breathing. Relax that jaw. Relax the muscles. Usually the more we relax and release, let those muscles go, we will deepen the stretch, sink further into the pose. Okay, bring your gaze back up to the ceiling. Swing those legs back up. And we can prepare for Shavasana. If you want to remain with your legs up the wall, that's great. If you want to lay down on your mat in a traditional Shavasana pose, now's the time to do that. If you want to put on your socks, this is a good time to put on your socks, a sweater, get a blanket. I'm going to give you a couple moments to do those things. I'm actually going to put on my socks because it's quite chilly in the library. All right, once you're lying down, close your eyes. Bring that focus inward. And I'm going to talk about cultivating our inner life. And We need to learn how to select our thoughts just the same way that we select our clothes every day, because this is a power that we can cultivate. Remember, I talked about cultivating our gratitude, changing our attitude, bringing it around, to reframe things in a attitude of positivity, of thankfulness, of gratitude, as opposed to negative emotion. So I want you to consider your relationship with your mind. How does your mind speak to you? How do you respond to it? Do you treat it as if it always tells you the truth? Does it treat you as if you are a treasured friend? The reason we're bringing this up is because one of the biggest causes of unhappiness is how we respond to our own mental chatter. Generally, it's this relationship that will have the strongest influence on our feelings and therefore on our emotional well-being as a whole. Your mind feeds your thoughts, memories, self-judgments, and worries, and you buy into them as if they are factual because this is you're talking to. This wouldn't be a problem if for our happiness, if the majority of our thoughts were all lovely and positive. But that's just not the case when we as humans are wired for problem solving. Our minds explain our world using language that is biased negatively toward things that are threatening. That's an impulse that's left over from our caveman days. Our mental software has not been updated in a really long time. And because of this problem-solving software, it's impossible to control every thought that comes to you. If you don't believe me, just watch. For the next 15 seconds, don't think about pink elephants. Now see, either you just uncontrollably thought of something, or it took considerable effort not to. It's impossible to simply ignore all of your negative thoughts. And ignoring even some of them takes a lot of hard work, if it's actually possible at all. But on the flip side, we often act as if our minds have a remote control for our behavior. How many times have you been determined to exercise tomorrow and then wake up and give in to your mind's assertions that, oh, it's too cold, or you're too tired, or you'll do it tomorrow, as if your body were controlled by your thoughts? Let's test it. Wherever you're sitting, wherever you're at right now, introduce the thought, I can't raise my right arm. Now, as you're having this thought, lift your right arm. Now think of how strongly your mind had you convinced of certain things that you couldn't do. What if you told yourself these things were attainable instead? Maybe you would have continued your studies. Maybe you would have started the business you've been dreaming about. Maybe you would have developed a habit of exercising every morning. Well, the most liberating news I can give you is that you are not your mind. You are not the negative or self-limiting chatter that plays in the background of your head. In the same way that your left calf muscle does not hold the key to your identity, your mind is a part of you, but it's not you. You are the part of you that can step back from yourself and observe your mind and your body. You are bigger than all of the parts of you together. Rather than letting your mind be the boss of you, I'm suggesting that you turn your relationship around so that you can get your power back. And by power, I mean control. If you're nodding your head right now, the control freak in me salutes the control freak in you, because I get it. And I wish that when it came to thoughts and feelings, I could give you an ancient key or a passcode that would grant you access to your emotional world exactly as you want to experience it today. But we both know that I can't do that. You can't control your mind any more than you can control your feelings. It's just not as simple as think positive, no matter how many memes on Facebook tell you so. If it were, we would all be happy all the time. So you might not be able to control the thoughts that come to you, but you can control how you respond to those thoughts. Instead of interpreting them as facts, you can choose to step back from them, detach from them, and separate yourself from them. For thoughts that are not helping you move in the direction of living well, whatever that means to you in the present moment, I suggest not giving them your energy. Acknowledge that you will have thoughts that are unhelpful or harmful even, but they don't need to direct your day, even though you may not be able to make them disappear. Okay, let's start wiggling those fingers and toes. Make some circles with your wrists and your ankles. And roll over to your side. Hug your knees in towards your chest into a fetal position. And when you're ready, bring yourself back up to a seated position. I want you to join me for 3 quick rounds of sun breath. So bring your arms out to your sides. Inhale as we bring them up. Exhale out. Inhale up. Exhale out. And last inhale. Your hands together. Down through your vision center into your heart. The light in me sees the light in you. I honor you as you honor me. That is a translation of the word namaste. I thank you all for coming to watch this video today. I wish you well, peace, love, joy. Until the next time, namaste, everybody. Bye.